Most corporate event planners are not event planners. We work with a couple of corporate clients that have event teams, but most people planning corporate events, it's an add-on to their actual job. They're an administrative assistant or they work in HR or something like that. They don't want to have to find a marquee vendor and a backdrop vendor and a photo booth vendor and a balloon vendor. So for them to be able to come to me and me say, I can do all of these things for you is a really easy thing for them to say yes to.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Thanks for joining us. My name is Christian.
My name is Sarah.
And
we are the boothers. Photo boothers, to be exact. We have been photo boothing since 2019 here in the US.
And if you're just joining us for the first time, this is a podcast about photo boothing by photo boothers. So if you have a photo booth business or you're just thinking of starting going, you want to join us, which cool episode. Today, we're joined by Miranda, the magic maker behind Snap Pop Party, a family-run event experience company built on bold design and unforgettable moments. She left her 9-to-5 in 2018 to turn a single photo booth into a full-scale brand, and she offers photo and video activations, balloons, and event design.
Hi. How are you guys? Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. You're joining us from where? Salt Lake?
Salt Lake City. Yep. We are based here in Utah, and it's a nice sunshiny day.
Awesome. And you are the primary owner or shared owner, or what's your role in it?
There are technically four of us. I might be the face of this company, but there are technically four of us that own this business. So in 2018, I was working a very corporate, very HR, very buttoned up type position and had a baby and thought, I don't want to do this anymore. Had a mini midlife crisis and decided I wanted to do something different. I had a background as a photographer doing portraits and weddings, but didn't ever really love it. It gave me a little bit of anxiety. And so I thought, I know cameras, I know the technical side. And so my husband, who's one of the owners in the business, Tyler, said, why not a photo booth? And that's kind of where we started.
Right. And that was in 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
2018. Okay. And what did you start with? What was your first photo booth?
Our first photo booth was a Photomaster mirror. So we still own her. We call her Marilyn. She's a beast, and I have a love-hate relationship. Would for sure. So.
Or do you still rent it out often?
We do. Yeah, we rent it out from time to time. Definitely at a bit of a premium because, at 350 pounds, I don't want to lug her around.
Oh my gosh. It's insane. They're heavy. I didn't realize heavy.
Yeah. Well, they're absolutely insane. I can do it by myself, but it's really like a two-person job for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, we almost started with a mirror booth. And I see them and they're so pretty, but yeah, it's intimidating.
And people love them, but I don't want to do it.
I don't want to. You will be paying the most. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
So your brand is one of my favorites to follow. And well, I guess I should back up. We actually met in probably, I think, 2022 at PBX, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Was it 22 or was it, when did you guys start? Was it before that?
So we went to PBX 2020, and then the next month COVID happened. So 2021 was canceled. So I was thinking maybe it was 22 that we met.
It might have been 20. It was one of the two. But it was
either before COVID. So we've known each other a long time. And then we also got to have lunch last year in Salt Lake City, my hometown. So you've got a special place in my heart. I've hired you before for a fringe wall 4 years ago for my friend's graduation. But your brand on Instagram is like my favorite thing to follow. I actually have a ton of screenshots I just looked from your stories because I'm constantly so inspired by everything you're doing and the gorgeous installs and the AI you're doing. So I want to plug your Instagram. It's phenomenal and so inspiring. Tell us about your other two brands that you have as well as Snap Pop Party.
Yeah. So when we started Snap Pop Party, we started just as photo booths. And during COVID, actually decided that I needed to do something different if I wanted to keep our business going. I still was lucky enough to have a full-time job, but I thought, "Okay, how do I stay in this event world?" And so, like a million other people in 2020, we added balloons to what we did. And then from there, it just kept growing. We have added a number of rentals as well. So we own a company called Utah Party Backdrops that does wood panel backdrops. Typically, you'll see them with balloon installs or different things like that. We do a lot of stage decor for our corporate clients with our backdrops. And then last year, we added LED marquees as well. So we run a brand called Marquees by SPP that we have a separate Instagram for as well. So running 3 separate Instagram pages, and it's a lot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Do you run all your social? Is all your social media from you, or do you have help?
I ran it until a week and a half ago, and now I don't anymore. I just hired somebody to do it. Finally, because I was not doing an adequate job.
Really get away.
The imagination. I know, right? Oh, finally have that off my plate. So, but yeah.
That's a huge win.
So you saw somebody to run all 3.
Yep. Well, she's running one, but so much of the content overlaps because we use our own backdrops and our own marquees so often that we'll just do collaboration posts, and then the stuff that is separate, I'll continue to post those. But yeah, so
Well,
great.
tell us a little bit about some of your add-ons, because you had mentioned to me before that you're not just balloons, you're not just photo booths. What are you doing that's kind of different from maybe some of the other photo booth companies?
I think the thing that really sets us apart is that we have so many different avenues within our business. Yes, we do. I will go to a wedding and I will set up a photo booth and I will do a photo booth all day, every day. But because we have so many different avenues and different things that we do with the balloons and the rentals, we've started doing full scale event design as well. It's a nice thing to be able to, like, package and mix and match and pull different options. So if somebody wants a photo booth and just a few balloons, like, that's a really easy thing for us to add on instead of them bringing in a separate vendor. If somebody wants balloons and then maybe wants to add marquees, like, it's easy for us, we're going to be there. So our goal is to be kind of a one-stop shop, and be able to do all of the things to make your party very much over the top. Like, I am extra. Let's be super real. Extra that
Like the most
for me.
fun extra I've ever seen. It is just like brain candy to wear.
I mean, my visuals are pink. Let's be real. So just all the extra different things. So we'll pull in if we've got a corporate client. It's nice to be able to say, okay, what else can we do? Because we know that's where the money is. Um, so it's nice to be able, okay, what else do you need in you instead of pushing those all that money that's just sitting there out to other people. It was a way for us to be able to streamline for our clients, but also add revenue streams into our business.
And corporates really like that. They like when you suggest things and just make it super easy and all in one. That's like the way to make money with corporate, I feel.
It really is. Most corporate event planners are not event planners, right? We work with a couple of corporate clients that have event teams and planning teams, but most people planning corporate events, it's an add-on to their actual job. They're an administrative assistant or they work in HR or something like that. Sometimes finance, which is a weird spot to put them. But, it's so they don't want to have to find 12 different vendors, right? They don't want to have to find a marquee vendor and a backdrop vendor and a photo booth vendor and a balloon vendor. So for them to be able to come to me and me say, "I can do all of these things for you," is a really easy thing for them to say yes to. Like, it's an
Yeah,
easy yes.
I think some advice for listeners out there who aren't sales savvy, or don't like doing the sales part. One great thing to ask every time you're on a call with somebody and you got them on the phone, um, is just if they need anything else.
Yeah.
Like today we literally had a call with a corporate client, and we asked if there was anything else they were looking for other than the photo booth. We had them sold on the photo booth. They agreed. So we had this sale, but then I said, is there anything else you're looking for? And Sarah, do you remember what they said?
Yeah, it's actually not anything we could really provide, but we make ourselves extra valuable with our connections. And so they were actually looking for yoga teachers and massage therapists. It's like a team building week, so they wanted to treat their team. So I'm like, oh, I have connections, and so like making yourself valuable, even if you don't offer, marquees and balloons and all the fun add-ons that you do is possible. But I wanted to ask you, with like having so many add-ons, how do you like get all the options in front of people without like overwhelming them? Or like I feel people get so overwhelmed really easily.
It's
So
a great question,
what's
and
your secret?
it I don't know that I have any secret sauce there. Um, but it's for me, unless somebody just wants one thing, I always want to get on the phone with them, right? Like, if it's, "I just want a photo booth," great. I'll send you my booking link. Here you go. But if they're not sure, if they don't know exactly what they want, I will always push for a phone call. It doesn't have to be long, maybe 5 minutes of what is the experience you are trying to create for your guests? That's always my question. Because if they tell me that they're wanting a party atmosphere, awesome, great, let's talk about balloons. If it's more of like a corporate kind of button up event, awesome, let's talk about headshots, right? So it's always asking what that experience is, because then I know how many add-ons I can do and really push without super overwhelming them. If it's the admin assistant, I'm going to say, I can handle X, Y, and Z for you. Let me know if that's something you're interested in, and then I can send you options. Um, but if, I mean, if they're throwing a big like corporate summer party, I'm going to throw everything at them. If it's maybe a sales kickoff, I'm going to throw everything at them. If it's, a meeting and they need a little something extra, I'm going to give them 1 or 2 options. It's just kind of feeling out that client.
Oh, do you send quotes via email, or is it mostly over the phone, or like where are you sending them pricing, or how?
It depends on the client for sure. If it's somebody that I'm talking to about a wedding photo booth, I'm going to give them the pricing over the phone and say, I'm going to send you your invoice. Like, done and done. If I happen to get them on the phone and they haven't booked through my booking link, which we always prefer. I don't actually want to talk to them. Uh, but if it's a bigger corporate event and I'm trying to push a couple of different things, I will put together a proposal for them, which I typically do through Canva. Super easy. Very visual of this is what it could look like, right? Selling them the dream of what it looks like, which is the key when you're doing those visual services like balloons or backdrops. Most people can't envision it. They don't have the creative brain. So being able to put it in front of them and give them, it can look like this or this. 2 choices.
Yes.
Wow.
So let's chat a little bit kind of about your sales cycle then. So
Sure.
do most people find you on Google, or how are you finding the most people are stumbling upon you? Like, have you been
Most
asking out?
people find us through Instagram. My website is absolute garbage. If I'm going to be super honest, my website has not been updated since we added balloons in 2020. So it has very little of what we actually do. It doesn't have the marquees on it. It doesn't have the backdrops on it. So I avoid sending people to my website like the plague. It's a project for the ship for sure. So Instagram is our main lead source, and then referrals and planners.
Do they chat
Majority of
you on
it's
Instagram?
planners. Yeah. Which I used to resist. I used to resist that DM on Instagram and say, go to my website, go to my website. Here's my quote request link or whatever, my inquiry form. But
So you prefer that they go through, like, your happy path is to go on your Instagram and send you a DM and then just set up a call?
it is now because that's how Gen Z wants to communicate.
That's so true.
So, it really is now. If I do get an email from somebody, my auto response to that is, "Awesome, I would love to chat with you. Here's a link to book a 15-minute call with me." Or send me a text. Send me a text or schedule a call, because I find, at least me personally, and this isn't for everybody, I totally get it. Not everybody works this way. For me personally, if I can get somebody on the phone and I can talk through what that vision looks like, I will get more money out of them. And I know that doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody wants to do that. And not all clients want to do that. There will be people that email me back and say, nah, this is just what I want. Or, people ghost you because that happens. But if I can get somebody on the phone, most of the time I can sell them more than what they were looking for. And I don't
And are you doing
myself a good salesperson.
yeah. Are you doing more corporate or weddings or a little both or
It
what
depends
it
on the
is?
time of year, honestly. Um, our business, because we do so many different things, and I know a photo booth business in general is pretty cyclical, but because we do so many different things, our months look very, very different. So, May for me is balloon heavy. It's graduation season. We've got balloons going out the door all the time. June, although there's still a little bit of grad stuff there at the beginning of the month, is very wedding heavy. It's a huge wedding month in Utah. So June is photo booths constantly. So it really just depends on the time of year for us. There's really only 2 months that are heavy in both. Like really, really heavy in both, and that's October and December.
I'm all, can we guess? Actually, I think I wouldn't have guessed October. Is Utah really big on Halloween?
We do a lot of corporate Halloween. That personal Halloween as well, but yeah, Halloween is huge, and it's still big wedding season in Utah, fall weddings. So
I
those
think
2 overlap quite a bit.
we have a similar wedding season to you, being high altitude mountain
Mhm.
region. Our heaviest months for weddings are June. October has actually increased in the last few years in weddings, and August has decreased a bit. Interesting to monitor that data. But yeah, it's June, August, September, October, big time.
I wanted to ask Miranda, do you have any like nuances to your area? For example, here in Tahoe, we are subject to forest fires, and it has impacted us quite a bit. Where every year there's a bad fire, and events get canceled. Is there anything like that for you?
Not particularly. Um, Snow gets on our way every once in a while, but not. I mean, you guys know if you live in a mountainous region and there's snow, like people still expect you to show up, right? Like it could snow 30 inches and people still want you there. So, um, there isn't really anything that gets in our way much. Every once in a while, if a July or August day is like super, super hot, somebody might pivot from an outdoor event to an indoor event. But that would be our biggest pivot is indoor to outdoor or outdoor to indoor. But other than that, people aren't canceling for any weird reasons.
And I always wonder for you and your balloon business, how do you put balloons outside when it's 25 degrees or or 95 degrees? I mean, does it even work? Can you even do that? Is it in your contract? Like,
It is in my contract, but I've never canceled a balloon thing because of the weather. Um, and it goes both ways for sure. I've done some very early morning, very cold, very snowy installs. And Facers heat gauge gloves are my new friend. Uh, Tyler found them for me and they are life changing. They heat up my little hands but leave my fingers free, which is great.
had them when?
So if anybody out there needs to be out in the cold, fingerless heated gloves are the way to go. But then like, from a heat perspective, like it's just educating your clients, right? Like it can get balloons don't like the heat at all. They do fine in the cold. They do not like the heat. And so those 90-degree days, if somebody's got balloons and I show up and they want them in direct sunlight, it's not happening. We get to find a different solution, a different place to put them because they will pop. And if somebody absolutely insists, then it's just like that's what your contract is for, right? Like it says in my contract, I will set it up, and once I walk away, I am no longer responsible for this. And let them know that weather can be a factor. And most people understand that you're the professional, right? Like you know what is best. And you guys know this from a photo booth perspective, right? Like if you show up to a venue, I think Sarah, you and I actually talked about this on Instagram last summer. Showed up to a venue like direct sunlight in the heat. Those pictures are going to look like crap, right? Like we tell them it needs to be covered and you show up and there's no tent or anything.
Or a clear tent, which just hurt us, and it's like a sunset just beamed into our camera. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. But I think if you have the relationship with your clients and you've spent the time talking to them, they get that you're the professional. And so if you have to say like, "Hey, I've got to like this can't be here. We've got to find a different solution." Or if you don't have a different solution, like this is what it's going to look like and just educate them on the fact that like, listen, if you want people staring into the sunset, their eyes are going to be squinty and those photos are not going to be great. But if you're not going to let me move anywhere else, like you know what you're getting yourself into, being able to have those conversations.
Well said. Yeah, and to piggyback off that, when we set up photo booths, and there have been times where we can tell that's not going to be quality. I mean, for one thing, people who aren't familiar, you need to set up against a wall for a backdrop, ideally, because people don't realize this, but your guests are going to lean backwards, and sometimes,
Every freaking time.
yeah, they always think it's a wall. I don't know what it is about a backdrop that people think it's like
Mhm.
made of steel, but it's not.
The number of times I say, "Nope, it's not a wall. Nope, it's not a wall."
It's pretty bad. But yeah, the number of times we've had to walk into a room and be like, I don't think that's the best spot. But for those that are listening out there and they're a little timid about speaking up, like honestly, you need to say something right away, because the worst thing that can happen is you don't say anything and something goes wrong, and now you look really bad.
Yep.
And Miranda, you said it best. Like the people that are hiring you think that you're the expert, and they want you to tell them if this is right or wrong. So for those listening out there, like, don't be afraid to speak up like you should.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get that it's hard, like, especially in your first year or two of business, and you're not quite sure and right, like, am I gonna offend somebody or I don't want this planner to be mad at me, but they're gonna respect you more if you can say like this is not going to create the experience or the output that you want, right? Like nobody wants those pictures back and they're super washed out or people's eyes are all squinty because they're staring at the sun. Nobody actually wants that as their content. So being able to speak up and say to the planner or the person in charge or the client if they don't have a planner, like, hey, this isn't gonna work and here's why. They'll respect that more than you just not saying anything and then the output not being what they wanted.
Right. And they want the guest safety more than anything.
Yep.
And that's what everybody wants. And we've had a bride push back on us. It's in our contract. It needs to be up against the wall. And she's like, well, I want it here. And I swear it was the one time we went against our contract and said, okay, well, we'll make it work. People fell and it was really scary. And she was mad at us. It was, oh, you've got to, you're being, so it's super important. And
Yeah.
do you ever find that with your balloon walls? People are trying to,
Oh, yeah. If it's a backdrop, it doesn't matter what the backdrop is. People think it's a wall. They think it is sturdy and stable.
right.
And of course, we're all going to do our best to make it sturdy and stable, right? Bringing weights or whatever it is, but it's still an 8-foot structure with nothing at the top of it. So like I can weight the bottom of it, but it's still going somewhere if there's enough force there. So yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of really funny stories.
Um, I wanted to get into how many, like, give our listeners, like, what's an average busy day for you? Like, is it one event, like eight, or you're running around just like setting up balloons all day? I mean, give us kind of an idea of what's typical for you.
Again, it really kind of depends on the time of year, but like a busy day, we will run 8 to 15 events in a day. And those can be anything from a photo booth to a rental drop off to a balloon. Like it can be a full scale balloon install or just a balloon drop off, right? Like that can be any number of combinations of things. But we own 12 photo booths. So we can typically run about 5 different photo booth events at a time. And then for the most part, if it's a larger balloon install, I am at all of them. So those really depend on my capacity for a day. But we can run anywhere from, 8 to 15 events in a super busy December Saturday.
Wow. So it kind of sounds like you're doing this full time or you're doing this.
I am doing this full time. This is my full-time gig, has been
Yeah.
for about 3 years now, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Um, I left my corporate role in December of 2023. So yeah, 2.5 years. And then my husband, Tyler, has a full-time job, but also works in the business quite a bit. And then my mom and dad, I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, there's 4 owners. When we started the business, my mom and dad were like, that sounds fun. So they own a small percentage of our company, and do quite a bit of work in our business. They both do a lot of our balloon inflating. They both work photo booth events. They'll go do rental drop off and pick up, go on bigger balloon installs with me. So they're very involved in our business, but both also have full-time jobs. So it's my full-time gig, and then everybody else like piecemeals in. And then we have a couple of contract employees as well.
That's what I was going to ask next. Like, how many people do you have helping you with the photo booth? Or you're doing most of them yourself, it sounds like.
Um, no, I actually try to not work a photo booth event unless I have to at this point. As much as I love them, unless I have to, or if it's one I really want to go to, right? But we have 5 part-time contract people at this point, that will work, and they primarily work booth events, or inflate balloons. So, but for the most part, all of those people will go out and work a booth event.
Do you have any advice for people that are still doing every event themselves as the owner? Because I have a feeling a lot of people who are just getting started are doing every single photo booth themselves. They might be doing it themselves, or like Sarah and I do, a husband and wife team. But what advice do you have for people who are like, I need to hire somebody, I just not sure what to do?
Hiring is hard, and this is coming from somebody who, like, literally that was my corporate job. I was a corporate recruiter for 25 years. Um, so you'd think that I had the magic answer, but I do not. Hiring people for gig work is super, super tricky, especially when you can't guarantee them a certain number of hours, right? Like, there are weeks I need somebody 3 or 4 days a week, and there are weeks where I don't need them at all. So gig work gets a little tricky. Where I have found a good amount of success, are students that are looking for part-time work. So college students that are looking for part-time work. Um, they don't care if it's nights and weekends for the most part, right? Like, they're gonna go party after their event. They're not gonna go out and party before 10 PM anyway. They don't care. So college students for sure. And then, other event professionals. So I use a couple of florists that do a lot of freelancing on the balloon side of things. So they'll also work photo booths for me as well. Um, they're used to the grind, right? So people that are used to the grind. I've tried a couple of stay-at-home moms, which is great for like corporate daytime stuff, but they're not my night and weekend like warriors, right? So, um, yeah. But college students and then other event professionals that are looking to supplement their income, like they're not running their own businesses, they're working for other event people. It's a great those are my sweet spots for sure.
Nice. That's good advice. I've never thought of using florists to help us out. That's a good one.
Florists are like their whole like culture, a florist's culture is to freelance, right? Even if they're running their own business, a lot of times they're freelancing for other florists. And that's how most florists work is to hire freelancers regularly. So it's very typical for them. Where it gets tricky is on the super busy weekends, right? So like June, September, where there's a lot of weddings. That's where it gets a little trickier because they're busy on the floral side. Um, but it's they're great most of the year. They're great to have.
So yeah, April 25th for some reason is like the hot date for us this year. We got completely booked up and we're turning people down left and right. I don't know what it is about April 25th.
I don't either, but ours is insane. I will take one more event and that's it. And this is coming from the girl that said I can run like 8 to 15 events in a day. So
Oh, that's really saying something.
Yeah, that's
So,
a lot.
do you have any weddings that weekend, or is it all corporate and,
it's all corporate and social.
eh,
Yeah, I don't. Nope, I lied. You have one like wedding backdrop that
okay.
event, but yeah.
Right, and is your disco wall, I just have to talk about it because it's, like, one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Is the disco wall backdrop you made?
Yeah, we did. So we made a disco ball wall, and definitely not the first people to do it, but it's 10 feet wide and 8 feet high. It's got over 4,000 disco balls in it.
What?
It it's insane. It's absolute insanity. It took over 60 man-hours to make the thing. So, like,
Who made it?
all of the disco balls, myself and then, my mom and then one of our other employees for the most part, the 3 of us. Like, you're literally, like, gluing in disco balls. So, there's everything from, like, 1-inch disco balls to 24-inch disco balls in this wall.
Yeah, we'll have to show our viewers on the back end with some B-roll, but having
It's
seen it
magical.
myself,
It's super magical.
it looks like
I
it take
almost set myself up in front of it today, but and I didn't. This is back in my very messy warehouse.
I just was in total disbelief. I thought it was AI, and you chatted me back and you're like, "Oh, it's real." That's straight something like that.
A U-Haul. It comes apart in 4 pieces, so you take it apart in 4 different pieces, and then it's definitely, like, a two-person job, but then in order for it to look good because you're taking it apart every time, when you get it to an event and you set it up, you basically have to refill all of the seams. So you're, like, hot gluing disco balls
Mm.
into the seams when you get there, so it's a good, like it's a process for sure to make sure that it looks good.
I wanted to ask what
Labor.
do you said you had a warehouse or you have a warehouse? Is that where you
Yep.
primarily work
Yep.
in?
Yeah, we
Oh, a little bit about that.
3,500 square feet of warehouse space.
What?
Um, so we started in our house, which with one photo booth is super easy to do.
Hmm.
By the time you own multiple photo booths and you're doing balloons and a number of other things, it gets tricky. So we moved into our warehouse a year and a half ago. But at that point, we were up to 8 storage units. We had, it's insane, y'all. We had 8 storage units. We had stuff in our garage, stuff in our basement. So we moved into a 2,500 square foot warehouse. And then when we bought Utah Party backdrops and added the marquees, we were back up to a couple more storage units. So then at that point, one of the other units in our building became available. So we now have a 1,200 square foot space at the other end of our building that houses all of our backdrops and marquees.
Wow. Is there a way to I mean, how do you organize all that? Like, do you have any systems or do you use software for something or like how do you keep track of all that?
I do not, Chris. I do not organize the things. Tyler is very much the organizer of the things. So we actually have all of our backdrop and marquee inventory in a system called Sortly, which you can scan in and out, which I am not really good at all. It's in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, the Z's rented out that day. Um, so looking for a system to do that better, but right now all of our inventory is in Sortly. And it works. It works well. It's hard to find something that integrates from a CRM perspective where we're doing so many different things. So if anybody has any great ideas, listeners, Um,
Yeah.
so we have a system that houses all of our photo booth stuff. We have another system that houses all of our balloon stuff from a booking perspective. You can't find one that works super well for both. And then the rental inventory is a whole nother ball game. So it's been tricky to try and find the right systems, but
Sarah and I pretty much live in Google Sheets to keep track of stuff.
yep. Which is really where like things have to be at this point because I don't have a system that really works for all three. So Google is my brain. Absolutely. I live and die by my Google Calendar, basically.
For sure. Well, before I forget, I wanted to ask about like awards and like how people can get kind of more. Like a lot of people say they can't stand out. Like it's tough to stand out against other people in your city. I mean, you obviously have something very unique with your backdrops and your disco wall thing. So obviously, that's a great way to stand out is to do something unique. Um, but I saw that you had a Best of State award. You know, awards and
3 years in a row.
yeah, like
Years in a
tell
row, yep. Just submitted the
congratulations.
application for this year, so here's all the fingers crossed.
So tell us about that. Like, is it a thing that's unique to your state? Is it something that people can get involved in their state, or tell us a little bit about it?
I know the Utah Best of State is very specific to Utah, but all states have these, right? Like, so we were just up for a Best of Salt Lake award as well, which we're waiting to hear back on. But most people will have something. Each state, each city has some sort of award. And I would just say to look for what that is. The Best of State awards in Utah are definitely one that people pay attention to. Like, you'll see as you're driving down the freeway, billboards with this Best of State emblem on them. And it is something that people really take pride in. So, I've got it all over the place, on, my email signatures and different things like that, right? It's on all of our proposals and things like that. But it's something to pay attention to. So I would say find the thing in your market that is that thing, right? The awards that people are paying attention to. And it's going to be different whether it's corporate or personal. It's going to be different based on generations, right? I will say the Best of State is a little old school in Utah. But I'm still gonna keep winning it, right? I'm still gonna do it. I have
You
one of the little medals right here.
can you pull it up so we could see it?
So you get, like, a medal each year. This little Best of State
Got it.
guy.
So cool.
It's cool. Like, it's a cool thing to be able to say, like, "I did that." And we've won 2 awards each year for the last 3 years. One on the balloon side of things and then one on the photo booth side of things. So, find the thing that is big in your area and then find what makes you different. I get there are 500 photo booth companies, right? Like,
Hmm.
I stopped trying to keep track of how many there are. It's all like there's a lot. And like balloon companies, there are legitimately over 300 balloon people in Utah.
What?
Like, yes, somebody counted. It was not me. I do not.
I felt like he's unique because who knows how to have 4.
Salt Lake is unique. Utah is very unique in the fact that it's a very entrepreneurial type state. Um, all of the people go out on missions and they all come back and they all want to start their own businesses, right? So it is very much a thing to do in Utah. Like people start their own businesses. It's what they do. We are unique in that fact, but with there's I know of at least 30 different photo booth companies in my market.
Mm.
Okay, great. Like I'm still me. I still have my people, like my clients are my clients and they like me for who I am. So it's finding that thing, right? Finding the thing that makes you different and that makes you stand out to your client. Your client will not be my client. And
Right.
they just won't be, right? Not everybody wants somebody with pink hair, which I don't happen to have today, or like bright pink walls or whatever, right? Rolling up to set up their event in a hot pink t-shirt. Like, not everybody wants that. Some people want the vendors that show up in their black outfits and they just blend into the crowd.
Christian.
That's not going to be me, right? Um, like our photo booth attendants do not have a uniform. They dress to the event. If the event is casual and their colors are green and blue, we say dress casual in green and blue. Like, we're dressing to the event colors every single time. And it's something that sets us apart and helps us blend in a way that is still like gives people personality and gives us a way to stand out. So find those things for you. And then when you're applying for those awards, like touch on those things. This is what makes me different. This is why people like me. This is what sets us apart. It's not about the software that I use or the cameras that I have or anything like that. It's, this is the experience that I can provide, and this is the output from that experience.
I like that.
That's great advice. And the dress code thing is so thoughtful as a detail, right? To like inform your contractors or your team, hey, this is the event, but like, here's the theme or like, here's the vibe as far as we know. And I love
I mean, it has led to quite a fun wardrobe, I will say. I can pretty much dress to any theme or party at this point. It makes for a super fun wardrobe. So part of it is maybe a little selfish, but it is one way that sets us apart for sure.
So can we talk a little bit about like, well, obviously this sets you apart massively is your AI offerings that I'm seeing you do are like the coolest I've seen. I'll show here. I have screenshots from your stories of a recent event you did with your icon booth. Plug the Every Booth icon. You actually inspire us of the Every Bars. And I see you using your icon booth nonstop. But you had like a really cool like Queen of Hearts event where everybody was like out on a playing card and they were like royalty. And then I have another screenshot I took off your stories. It's like an 80s. And I truly
80 ski slopes.
I truly cannot tell if that's AI or not, or that's I literally Christian and I were debating. So
Nice. It was AI. So that one specifically was at a ski resort, and they were doing a Warren Miller film premiere. And it was all about ski culture of this film. And so we wanted to create something that took, because, when you're doing a film, you're in the middle of a ballroom in a hotel on a ski slope, but you're in a hotel ballroom. But we wanted to find a way to take the ski culture that this movie was about and create images that fed to that. And so we did two different things. We set it up. Well, I actually set it up with 4 different prompts. So people could either wear the outfits that they were currently wearing and just be put on a ski slope, because some people did dress up for this event. The dress code was like, wear your 80s ski gear. Or we could put you in 80s ski gear and put you on the ski slope. Or we could do more of like a portrait style. But it was amazing. It's some of my favorite output for sure. Like, and it's, if I were a skier, which I am not, I live in Utah and have skied maybe like 4 times in my life, but I don't like to be cold. That's not my jam. But if I were to ski, this would be my outfit. It's like hot pink and teals and lime greens and like very
cool.
ski vibe. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So what software did you use to run that?
I ran SnapPick on that. We just recently at PBX bought a Booth.events license as well. I really love what their AI is doing. But playing around with all the different softwares at PBX, AI was very much at the forefront this year. Playing around with all of them. I think for the most part, you can get a pretty similar output regardless of the software that you're using. It's all about the prompts that you're feeding into the software, right? And there's been a couple of prompts that I have purchased, like that Queen of Hearts one, I actually purchased that prompt and then made some tweaks to it. It gave me a good base, but then I was able to tweak it so it fit my event a little bit better. Um, but the ski one was built from scratch, and it's a lot of trial and error. Like, you can't just create a prompt, like, the day before your event. Please, listeners, do not do that. If you're going to do AI, you've gotta give yourself, like, time to test it and try it and test it and try it and tweak it and try it and take another picture and upload it and tweak it and try it. Don't be afraid to use your credits, people. Those AI credits are pennies.
That's good advice. That's great advice. Because I mean, what can go wrong with AI at the event? It won't pick you up correctly. I haven't seen anything go.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so the first time we actually did AI was like, it was still pretty new, and we did this, like, corporate event with one of our corporate clients that we use pretty often. This was, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. Like, it was still very new in the photo booth world, and we turned people into astronauts, and there's this one picture, it might be Tyler, actually, or maybe one of the clients, but, like, there's an extra leg coming out of his torso, like, it's the weirdest, like, and you'll still get those every once in a while. The AI has come a long, long way, but you'll still get those every once in a while. Where I find that that happens the most is in bigger groups. Um, when AI first came out, it was like you could have one person in a photo, right? Like, very much had an attendant there saying, "No, I'm sorry, you can't both be astronauts today, just one of you, and then we'll do the other one." You can do group photos now, which is awesome. This ski one, for instance, I had a family come up, they had, I don't know, like 5 kids or something, there was maybe 7 or 8 of them in a picture, and in a dark ballroom, I had adequate lighting for sure. Never going to an event without adequate lighting. But with that many people in a dark ballroom, there's gonna be some shadows, right? Um, and so it took 2 of the kids and combined them into 1 person. So, this is weird, like, where'd the other kid go? This kid doesn't actually look like the kid. It was weird. So, it still happens every once in a while, like, it's bound to, and when it does, I think for the most part, people like, this family came back and they're like, one of our kids disappeared," and I was like, "Oh, sorry, AI, it's imperfect." Like, just kind of, I'm happy to take another one, whatever, but people for the most part get that AI is still AI, and it's not gonna be perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
That's a great story.
It's it was awesome. They're like, and they I was like, "I'm happy to take another one." They're like, "No, it's actually really funny. We love it." Okay, perfect.
Do you see that as one of the trends for this year? And are you seeing any other trends like the keychain making station is kind of a trend for 2026? What are you seeing?
Keychains are a trend. I don't want to do them.
Yeah.
Feels like a lot of work. Um, and if I did Hmm. Yeah, no, not gonna do that. But AI is very much a trend. I'm pitching it to every single one of my corporate events. I'm pitching it as an add-on. So yes, I will do just an AI booth, but I do like the idea of people still being able to get a picture of themselves, especially if it's something where they're dressed up or, a gala or something like that. I'm pitching it as an add-on every single time.
Yeah.
And then I think the other big thing is more of that kind of portrait type experience as opposed to like stepping in front of a photo booth, right? As much as I love my icon
Yeah.
and I will use her all day, every day. We call her Victoria. All of our booths have names. When I talked about Ireland earlier, all of our booths have names. So when you said icon, I was like, what is that? No,
That's
it's Victoria.
not her name.
Boom. I will take Victoria out all day, every day, but the idea of being able to create more of a one-on-one portrait experience is something that I'm really playing with this year. Um, for our weddings and our higher end social events for sure.
And are you doing that with just a camera on a tripod with your backdrop company? Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Simple. I mean, these
Yes and no. I mean, you're still running it through a software, right? So you can print on site. So there's still some nuances there for sure. And making sure you're able to create the quality of image. It's not just putting somebody in front of a photo booth, right? Like as good as those images can be, like the output, if you've got the right lighting and the right gear, your output is phenomenal. There's something very different about removing that booth, even if it's not enclosed, right? Most of us aren't using enclosed booths, although that is a huge trend this year. Closed booths, they were everywhere at PBX.
oh, and to be. It's a pickle we're all in, I think, right now.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
like every 10 years with that booth.
It is, right?
Yeah.
And it'll be something that's popular for a year or two, and then it will kind of fizzle out again. But
I'm wondering about that. But back to your plug for basically photography style photo booth combos. Like we actually partner with a photographer here in town, and so they'll come and do the photos. We'll provide the backdrops and the printing and the texting, and it's a really cool way to partner. Like we're not photographers to make a corporate client really happy. Well, everybody makes money.
yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to do it. And if you're not a person who's comfortable in front of the camera and posing people, that's a perfect way to do that. Like, have a couple of your photographer friends and, like, hey, you want to do this event with me? And they make some money, you make some money, client's happy.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, let's start to wrap things up with, we kind of like to end the show with quick fire answer or quick fire questions. This is kind of how we call it.
Okay.
But we'll just ask you a few questions and just try to keep it short, but just let people know like what you're doing. So like,
Yeah.
what software do you use as a CRM?
I use Check Cherry and 17 Hats currently. But like I said, I'm looking for a way to kind of better incorporate everything.
Yep, for sure. We use Pixify still. I think we're one of the few that are still hanging on to Pixify. Um, but it's a great little CRM, but it gets complicated very fast. um,
They all do, right? Like, they all have their nuances for sure and the things they're good at, but
yeah. Do you have any automations for your sales process?
no. You guys, I do everything manually. It's crazy. It's crazy talk, but it's right now it works for me. It will change, but right now it works for me.
Yeah. Automations are tough. Like you spend a lot of time getting them ready and then you just freak out when they're not working and you're just like, "Nope."
Well, I think if you're able to run your business full time, like you are, which is wonderful, then you have the time to like be in your inbox all day and be responding and picking up the phone. I think automation sometimes need to be in place for people who are working, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and then running a business.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely limitations to the way I do it for sure, but you're right. I mean, because I run my business full time, I do have a little bit more flexibility to do that. Um, when we're running 30, 40 events in a week, I don't. It takes way too long to get back to people or get them the proposals that they need. So there's pros and cons to it for sure. Right now it's working.
Right.
Okay. One more for you. iPad camera or DSLR?
Hmm. DSLR all day, every day. I refuse to print from an iPad. I refuse. We have a couple of Mobi booths that, um, like, that run an iPad, and that's great. I will not print from them. Um, I just don't like the quality. It's not good enough for me. As good as an iPad camera is, and with proper lighting, yeah, yeah, yeah. If I'm printing, it's a DSLR for sure.
That's and then do you have any advice to folks who want to be a photo booth owner, but they're kind of just sitting on the sideline, they're not sure, or you know, anything for relatively new photo booth owners?
But just going back to what I said when we were talking about the awards, find what makes you you. Your business is not my business. My business is not your business. It's not the person next to you. Each of us do something different. I can have the exact same equipment. We both have icon booths. We run our businesses different, right? What you offer your clients is different than what I offer my clients. And that's not bad. Like, find what makes you different. Find a way for you to stand out and attract your ideal client, because my ideal client is not your ideal client. So find something that makes you stand out so that you can run your business and don't worry about everybody else's.
Beautiful. Well, thank you again for being on the Boothers podcast.
Thank you, Miranda. And this was so fun to follow your amazing work. You even post on the weekends like what you're setting up. And I love to see everything you're doing. So your handle is nap.pop.party
Yes. Yep.
on the gram. Anywhere else we should be following you?
Instagram's definitely the best. Like I said, we've got the 3 of them though: the Snap Pop Party, the Utah Party Backdrops, and Marquees by SPP.
Awesome.
Fantastic. We love
Thanks, guys. This was super fun. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.